Hey everybody, welcome to another cooking class with Evie. We are here in the kitchen today and we're going to be making some apple pie energy bites, which are just little bites that rolled into a ball that store really well in the refrigerator. They also store really well in the freezer, so you can make a batch and put some in the freezer so that we're not eating them all at once, because believe me, they're that good. Very simple to make. This is actually a recipe that is great for the family to get involved with. If you have little kids around, this is a great thing for them to help measure, or at the end, roll them into the little balls, which is so much fun to do. And what we're going to do at the end too is we're going to coat them with a variety of different coatings. So they get to choose what coating they might like to use on the outside of their little, I like sometimes call them roly-poly apple pie bites. So to begin with, not very many ingredients. This is a no-cook recipe, which is even better. Nice and easy, quick, great for the summer when it's hot out. What I'm going to start to do is, I actually pulled out a red apple. This is a gala apple that I have, but it's not very big, so I'm going to add a little bit more of a green apple. The red apple is good for this because it's very sweet. The green apple, I kind of like a little bit of tartness in it, so it's a good combination of the two. I'm not going to use the whole green apple, maybe just about 1/2 to 1/3. We'll do that. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to, now you can grate these if you'd like to grate them. If you don't have a food processor, you could mix everything together in a bowl by grating the apples to put it in. But I find this recipe is nice and quick if I can put it right into the mixing bowl here. And this is a food processor. It works better than a blender in this case, because with a blender, it might puree it too much. It also kind of gets stuck to the bottom. This is easy to clean out. So basically, I just took maybe a little bit more than 1/3 of my green apple. And I love using a apple slicer like this, just to press down, make the wedges, and put them in. I could even cut them in half, making it easier to blend into the food processor. I might do that, just to make them a little bit smaller. And I did that with the green apple as well. All right. So we have our apple in here. I'm going to put the lid on. Give it a little bit of a pulse. I'm just going to pulse it until it has still a little bit of texture to it. I don't want the pieces too big, because when I make them into the balls, if the pieces are too big, the balls will fall apart easily. So this is a nice way to get it started. You can see the texture that I have here. And now we're going to add some of our dry ingredients. So we're going to add in 2 cups of oatmeal. And whoops, this is not what I wanted. This is steel cut. I was going to say, and these are not steel cut. These are. Hold on. Sorry about that. Let's start that again. We're going to use rolled oats. When you're doing something that's not cooked, rolled oats are great for this. They've been crushed, and sometimes they're steam processed. These are organic. I transfer them into here. If you are gluten-free, you want to be careful that you're buying gluten-free oats. Oats themselves don't have gluten in them, but they're processed in the same facilities that have gluten. So if you're highly sensitive to gluten, if you're celiac especially, you want to be careful about what you're buying. Oats are great because they contain a lot of fiber, but some of it is soluble fiber as well as an insoluble fiber. Soluble fiber is great because it actually feeds the microbiome, making us healthier, improving our digestion. It also has a little bit of fat, but also protein. So these snacks are a healthier version of something that you might get or you might be eating. It's almost like a morning oatmeal with apples, and we have cinnamon and raisins and almond butter in it. So you'll see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of the oats right now, but I'm going to hold out probably about a quarter cup because I want to mix them in later on to have a little bit of texture to the ball when I put them together. So I'm going to add that, and I have some ground flaxseed. These are not the whole flax seeds, they're ground. I had ground them up the other day. And I'm going to add in a quarter cup of flaxseed. You know, flaxseed loses a lot of its omega-3s, fatty acids, when they're ground up. It oxidizes very quickly. So it's always good if you have the whole flaxseed to keep it whole. I keep everything in the refrigerator. I keep this in the refrigerator after I grind it up, but I also keep the whole flaxseed in the refrigerator as well. That helps preserve it. It doesn't go rancid, and it stays healthier for us. It retains more of its nutritional value. So I've added in my flaxseed, and I'm going to add in a teaspoon of cinnamon at this point. The other thing, just to mention the nutritional value of this, apples too are very high in that soluble fiber. It's called pectin, and again, it is we don't digest it, but the microbiome, those microbes that are in our digestive tract, love soluble fiber. And for that reason, we want to feed the good microbes that soluble fiber. What we don't want to do is be feeding them straight sugar, which is what the bugs that are in our intestine that can cause harm, we call them pathogens, feed on. So we want to avoid foods with processed sugars, and we want to add in foods like this one that has a lot of fiber in it. Yes, it does have carbs in it, but these are complex carbs. The oatmeal actually has a carbohydrate that is treated very much like fiber that we do not digest, but the microbes in our digestive tract do. All right, so I am just going to pulse things together now. Hey Debbie, how are you? So good to see you. All right, we just started out, and I am going to give this a little more pulse. The pieces in here are a little bit bigger than what I want them to be. I bet you noticed too, I did not peel my apples. Why? Because a lot of the goodness of an apple, a lot of those phytonutrients, polyphenols that are so good for us, are found on that outer skin. So get organic whenever you can. Apples are one of the dirty dozen, so we want to get them organic when we can. But leave those skins on as much as you can. With any vegetable, it's better to leave that on because most of the nutrition in those phytonutrients are found out in that skin. So I left the skin on for that very reason. They also contain the insoluble fiber. So where's the pectins on the inside? The insoluble fiber, which just helps regular digestion, everything move through us smoothly. That's the job of insoluble fiber. So you can see here, we've got a nice consistency now. And what I'm going to do then is I'm going to add my almond butter. Almond butter is, again, another source of protein. So having these snacks, you're actually getting some protein in. I'm going to want half cup of almond butter. So this is a new jar. I did mix it up, but you're going to see it's a creamy variety. You could use chunky if you like. I actually kind of like chunky, but I found the creamy. I didn't find the chunky this time. So I'm going to add in this 1/4 cup. And I always buy a natural almond butter that has no sugars added to it. Oh, I have a visitor. I wonder who that could be. You're going to have to wait. All right. So as I was saying, this is creamy butter. I mixed it up because you'll find that a lot of the almond butters, if they don't have additives to them to keep them mixed, they will separate. And what we want to do is we want to mix that up again because the oils separate and the bottom gets very solid. All right, so I've got my peanut butter in there, my almond butter in there now. You could add peanut butter to this. I think the flavor might be stronger, and I'm not sure I like that flavor with the apple as much, but it's an option for you if you're doing that. Almond butter tends to have more protein. It tends to have more of the monounsaturated fats that are good for us. So you might want to consider the almond butter. It has more vitamins and minerals too than peanuts. So it's a good alternative. If you haven't tried almond butter, you may want to start. Give it a try. So I added the almond butter. I'm going to add a little bit of honey. So I think it's a 1/4 cup of honey. Yeah. So I'm going to add in 1/4 cup of honey. This for me is a lot to add to a recipe. I'm going to go skimpy on the 1/4 cup. But if you do not want to add honey, you could add dates. So if you had chopped dates, you could add 1/4 cup of chopped dates, and that would be an excellent substitute for the honey as well. Hey, Debbie. You could use, Debbie is asking if you could use chia seeds in place of the flaxseed. Yeah, that would be an excellent substitute. It will have more of a little bit of a texture because we don't have a lot of liquid in this, but you might want to try blending the chia seeds up and actually have a chia flour that goes in. But yeah, and chia seeds are great. They're full protein. They've got lots of fiber. They've got lots of those healthy omega-3 fatty acids in them. So that would be a great alternative for that. And I love that you're thinking of what can I substitute in? What do I have in my kitchen that I can use? Because I'm always doing that. So good question. Thank you. All right. So we're going to add in some vanilla. Let's see. I've got a very little bit of vanilla left in this bottle. Let's see if we can get away with 1 teaspoon. Oh, I think we just have 1 teaspoon in here. Excellent. I love when that happens. All right. We have our vanilla then, and we are going to add about 1/2 teaspoon of salt, which is a good pinch. All right. I love my little salt cellar. It's actually a crosette. All right. All right, we're going to mix this up again. And what you should see as this starts going around, let's see if you can see it, it's starting to form a ball as it goes around and around and around. Just going to scrape down the sides, make sure we got it all. And what you're going to see is this is one real thick, juicy batter. Let me show you what we got here. Right? All right. Let me just give it one little mix in. I think it's pretty good though. Perfect. All right, I'm going to move this to the side. And now what we're going to do is we're going to mix things in by hand. I'm going to take this blade out. One nice thing about this food processor is it doesn't have a hole in the middle. So if I take the blade out, there's no danger of me spilling any. Let me just move this out of our way. All right. So now we have our batter. I'm going to add in that little bit of oatmeal that I left out. And I'm going to add in about a 1/4 cup of raisins. see whether we've got anything. Okay. Oops. I hope I didn't interrupt the process there. So I'm going to put in 1/4 cup of raisins, about 4 tablespoons. I actually like the raisins in there. It makes it more like an apple pie. Now, having said that, I've added cinnamon, but if you wanted to add apple pie spice instead of the cinnamon, perfectly acceptable, probably absolutely delicious. Okay. All right. So, let me just show you a little bit of what this batter looks like now. Get a good idea of the consistency. It's got a little bit of chunkiness to it. If you use that chunky almond butter, that would have a nice chunk to it too as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a teaspoon and get a plate for us to put things on. All right. I got this bowl because I'm going to put some water in because the batter is sticky and it's nice to be able to clean my hands off a little bit. So what I like to do is I don't like too big of a ball. I really like just 1 or 2 bites. And what I'm going to do is just roll it around so I have just a little ball just like that. I'm going to make a couple here for you so we can see the process. So far, not too sticky. All right. Wet my hands a little bit more because it was getting a little sticky there. Let's make about 3 balls. You're going to make about 3 dozen of these with this one batter, one recipe. Yeah. All right. So now we have our 3 balls right here. Now is the fun part, especially if you have little kids working with you in the kitchen. We just come by here, make sure we're okay. Yes, we are. Very good. All right. All right. So what I like to do is I've got 3 different bowls here. I have one with dried coconut unsweetened flakes. I have one with cocoa powder in it and one with cinnamon in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my balls, I'm going to re-roll them, and then I'm going to just take them and roll them around in the bowl. And this is great because if the balls are sticky, this makes them nice and round again. You know what? This is interesting. This actually is a lot softer than what I usually have. I am thinking, let's see, I'm going to add a little bit more flax and maybe a little bit more oat flakes to this. I want to thicken it up a little bit. I don't like that the balls are kind of falling apart. I want to add, whoops, I forgot to put away. This was the steel cup oatmeal. Don't want to do that. Those are be a little crunchy. Let's just add a little bit more of these flakes in. All right, that's good. And that might thicken up the, yeah, that's better. Let me make another ball. Now you'll find out with the flax and with the quinoa, or I'm sorry, in the chia, that if you use chia instead of the flax, that over time these will thicken up because as the flax absorbs the moisture. That's what flax and chia seeds are good for. They do absorb a lot of moisture. These are more dense. So that's good. So I'm going to put this one into the cocoa. rinse my hands off for a second. So I always have my apron. All right, and again, just roll it around. This is such a perfect way to do it, and they come out so nice and round when you do it this way. All right, here we have our cocoa. So now we have 1 cinnamon, 1 cocoa. I'm gonna do 1 in the coconut flakes. And there you have it. Okay. So let me do this. Let me transfer them onto a clean plate. And once this is done, you want to put them into the refrigerator for at least 20 minutes so that they can harden up. So here are different ways that you can enjoy your apple pie bites. All right, so here we have the one with cinnamon. I'm sorry, this is the cinnamon, cocoa, coconut flakes, and just plain. Now, you can put these in the refrigerator, as I said, 20 minutes, and they're good to go. Or, if you'd like, you can put them directly into the freezer. I find that what I like to do is to just take 1 or 2 out if I have like a little need for an energy boost. And that's good enough for me. I like when they're frozen because it takes a little bit longer to eat, especially during the summer. It's nice to have something nice and cool. All right, so which one should we take? Which one should we try? I'm just going to try the plain one for now. And you can see it's not solid yet. But it tastes really good. Fun, fun, fun. So remember, if it doesn't look thick enough, if your balls aren't holding together, just add a little bit more of your flaxseed and a little bit more of your oatmeal. And what's nice about these, they satisfy a sweet craving, and yet they have all that fiber in there and all that protein, which will counterbalance any of the sugars that are in there, the honey and the apple, so that it's a nice sustained energy. You're not going to get that sugar peak and then crash that you'd get with something that's processed, that doesn't have the fiber or the protein with it. So I hope you enjoyed the cooking class today. I hope you try some of your own apple pie balls. If you do, take a picture. Let me see them. I would love to see them, see how they look. Maybe, I hope they look a little bit better than these. These are looking a little sad. I'm going to put them in the refrigerator so that they firm up. I look forward to seeing you next week. But before then, tonight, I have my Take 20, where I'll be talking about what a CSA is. If you're not familiar with the CSA, tune in 7 p.m. tonight. Just go to my group page that I do with Mary Ellen Zung, which is Tips for Healthy Lifestyle with Evey and Mary Ellen. And we will be doing Zoom through the Facebook page. So you can just click in, similar to what you're doing here. So look forward to seeing you later on today. Hope you'll join us. You'll find out what a CSA is and what Mary Ellen and my experience has been working with them. Enjoy those snacks, stay well, and I'll see you next week.